Hi, I wanted to do a sort of a follow-up video to my review on my Lyuesword Tang Dao, and this would be that minimalistic Tang Dao that kind of looks like a stick sword. I'll post a photo of it, and shortly you'll realize why I'm showing you a photo and not the real sword. Have a little bit of a surprise at the end here. But I liked it enough that I decided to get what's in many ways its sister sword, and that would be a stick-style Jyan from Lyuesword. Now there's a couple of immediate visual differences that you're going to see. First off, it doesn't have that string overwrap reinforcement on the handle or the scabbard. The other thing is the theme of the metal fixtures is a scroll work pattern. It's very well done, not the dragon pattern of the other one. And the wood is a darker wood, either an ebony or maybe even a cocobolo, compared to the reddish. It's either a rosewood or a red sandalwood on the other sword. And I mentioned how heavy and dense that other sword was, especially in the scabbard. There's a really dense scabbard that makes a weapon in itself because it's, it's a big heavy piece of wood that's reinforced with metal on both ends. This one's heavier, about half a pound, and again, most of that in the scabbard, which makes the scabbard very much like a club, a weapon, just all by itself. Again, I don't necessarily need to use anything else. I can use that as a weapon or a secondary weapon or something like that. It's a heavy thing. However, let's take a look at the structure of the sword itself. First of all, without the string on there, you can see that there are two pins, one of which is a wooden pin, and the other one is this metal grommet, which has a hole through the middle of it. It allows you to put a tassel on it. Tassel didn't come with it. I just added a cheap one that I found that I thought matched. Your opinion of whether you like a tassel on your sword or not. A lot of people don't like them. They feel like they get in the way, and some people like them. So I went ahead and did that. But of course, the biggest difference is going to be the blade. The other one's blade is that flat kiriha pattern with the chiseled looking edge, that really abrupt edge bevel and angular tip. But this one is a traditional, what's known as an 8-sided Jyan. The reason why it's called an 8-sided Jyan is if you zoom in, each edge plane has two distinct bevels with some very clean lines, and you can also see that it's got that same really gorgeous Damascus pattern to it. So it's 1095 Damascus. Very, very well done. Everything is very smooth, very even, no ripples, no flaws. Just gorgeous. Nicely sharp. I also ordered it with the, see there, the smith's name on the blade again, because I feel like the man deserves his name on his work. Certainly earned that. I'd call it the habaki on a Japanese sword, but it's this blade collar, is somewhat more ornate, suits the overall theme. It's very well balanced, despite its weight. It's very nice and nimble. However, I did make one adjustment to it. Because I had the benefit of the bare wood, I went ahead and shave down the handle a little bit. Now, I mentioned on the other sword, because the handle is designed to be the same girth as the scabbard to kind of make it look like one piece, it makes for a really fat handle, and I have really tiny hands that are made tinier by the fact that I have, a brace on. So I took the opportunity to very carefully sand down a little bit of a taper just right here. It's a little bit of a waste to the blade, and it's only about 1/16 of an inch on each side, and it turned out really well, and that slight adjustment made it's just perfect now. It feels great in my hand. As a matter of fact, it felt so good that I did it to the other one, which was the unraveling of a whole lot of string and then the removal of the glue that was underneath. But underneath that, you'll notice it is a matching reddish wood. You can see the two pins in here. All the seams were very well done, so I don't have any worries about that. So again, I just a little bit of reduction and reshaping that now makes this feel even better in my hand. Now, if this winds up causing some weakness in the structure, I can go back and fix it, put the string back or something else to reinforce this. But so far in cutting, I haven't seen any sign that it's going to give. I haven't put it through anything like super abusive, but so far so good. So maybe I'll just leave it like this for a while and see how it works out. Now, the only semi-complaint I have about the new one, we'll see if you can even see it. If you look at the way that the handle is lined up with the scabbard, it's a little bit off. I didn't see it at first myself, but I realized the reason for that is, again, don't know if you can see it, but if you look at where the blade is compared to the guard, it is a little bit offset. It's a little bit closer on this side than it is on this side. Now, I measured it. It's exactly a 1/16 of an inch. It's not much. So when it comes to manufacturing tolerances and quality control, I can see how that would easily slip by. And I suppose if I wanted to do some significant reshaping to the handle and so that I actually move the guard around or whatever, I could do that. But right now it's not bugging me enough to do it. But it was just a thing I noticed. It's a 1/16 of an inch off. It does not affect the handling or balance of the sword. I don't feel a difference from one edge to the other. So, not terribly a big deal. And the other thing you have to take into account is what I paid for these. I paid $160 for the Tang Dao and $200 for the Jyan. And the blades alone are more than worth that. They're gorgeous. So yeah, I'm not complaining about somebody gluing a handle in like 2 millimeters off center. That's not such a big deal. And again, if I wanted to fix it, I'm the kind of a crafty guy who can fix it. So I'm not complaining. So I consider it a good purchase and very interesting pair of weapons to have in my collection for practice and getting back into Chinese swordsmanship. So good purchases, another good product, and another good reason to have a great deal of faith in Lyuesword.com. So I hope you found that interesting and informative, and I hope to see you again.